Scientists would argue all of human life and culture is about status for mate acquisition. So she's just an extreme example of what 99% of the planet is doing anyway.
Totally.
But she's doing a trade-off in her mind. I guarantee you, if she could have the same Robert Kraft guy,
Tom Brady,
40, yeah, or be the 40-year-old. She's not like, my main reason I'm with him is he's 76. Unless, like Charlie Munger says, his advice to a younger woman who has the choice between two hyper-wealthy men, marry the oldest one, because he'll die and she'll inherit the money. She may have that strategy, but I'm just saying, in general, if you're a 76-year-old man with an attractive 38-year-old woman, she wishes you were. Most women are attracted to men that are older, slightly, in almost every culture, from the rainforest, Yanomamo tribes in South America to, Sweden, which is a very feminine. Women like older men, so 76 might be a little extreme.
yeah,
38 years. He was 38 when she was born. More power to him. Who knows? Humans maybe will live. Now we're going to be able to have humans. I did an interview of a doctor on my podcast who says the next generation may be able to live to 700 with genetic engineering.
That's scary. I mean, we're going to have like Botox and all these things to keep up with it because we don't want everyone looking all wrinkled.
No, the idea is 700. They'll see your brain. Okay, I got to see your vanity score. You immediately thought of Botox.
Well, because I'm like, do we want to be old with old bodies for that long?
I think the goal is you wouldn't. Yeah. But it's interesting.
Chronologically.
My new quiz. I want to see this. I'm going to trust Trevor, too. Trevor, I think, did it, too.
Yeah, let's look at his. It might have been a while ago if you met him in 2015, though.
Greg Gilman just said, Ty, I missed your talk. Let's see. Trevor. Yeah, we got a lot of glass. We either got Jewish people here or what's going on? Where did he send it to me? Trevor. I don't even know if I don't have him on Instagram. All right, I'm going to find him. I'm going to tell you guys if you're a good match. How long have you known each other?
4 months.
4 months? Wait, aren't you engaged?
Well, last night he proposed to me, and I said, we'll see. On stage in front of
Aries. He's impatient. You only met 4 months ago? Why do I feel like you guys have been...
Yeah.
Okay.
We literally, the first time we met, we were in New York at Consensus.
Okay.
And then he's like, I just got invited to Richard Branson's Necker Cup right here at Bahamar. He's like, do you want to come? And I'm like the type of person that's like, Trevor seems great. Like, I want to meet Richard Branson. It's once in a lifetime. Like, I'm coming. So.
Status.
So. Well, yeah, and I'm like, I'm sure the spontaneous, interactions we're gonna have, and the people and the quality, like, you can't say no to that, right? So we came down here and we had like just world-class time and amazing, and that's where actually Polycon, the idea was born. We bid on a package to come back down here.
It was too expensive, so you were like, we got to come back.
Well, actually, it was like not. It was like it ended up being like for 14 people. So he was gonna bring 7 friends. I was gonna bring 7 friends, and it was gonna be like $500 US per night per person, all in.
Oh, that's not bad.
So I was like, we can do that. That's not bad at all.
So do you still have that package? Are you staying?
We just used it for the conference, and so the conference was supposed to be like 20 or 30 crypto people, and then it turned into we have almost 700 now registered.
Wow.
So that was literally.
Are you gonna do a panel tonight?
I did one earlier. No, I'm not doing any panels.
Yeah, the dinner I'm talking about at SLS.
Yeah, we have Patrick Byrne speaking, and then we've got Stephen Narioff from Alchemist and Jeff Pulver, who invented voice over IP. They're doing a panel.
Tell Trevor to put me on that panel. I want to be on a dinner panel.
Yeah, you should come on the panel.
I wanted to be on the panel yesterday, but there wasn't enough chairs.
Like, you should be on the panel. He's like, give Ty like a 4-hour talk.
No, I don't want to do 4 hour, but people like when I analyze websites.
Yeah.
People love that. So everybody knows they need a website.
Would you watch Hydrate Capital video? And it's only like literally like 2 minutes long.
It needs to be longer.
I thought you would say shorter.
No.
Here, I'm bringing it over. It's right there.
Longer.
Why?
You
So it's
can't sell complicated things in 2 minutes.
Really? But it's not complicated. So people ask us, what does Grit Capital do? We do.
But to them, it's complicated. All right, we're gonna have to show. We'll show this. She's showing. Show it here, so people see. Let's watch it all together. Okay. Grit Capital.
But wait, is there sound?
No, but do it without sound. Let's just watch it.
Okay.
Because most people watch videos now without sound, like Instagram. They just scroll through. So it needs your face. I've been telling people, websites without faces don't do well unless you're Apple and you have a $500 billion market cap and are recognized globally. 2 years. The numbers are good, but there's no personable story. People buy stories, even in crypto. They buy the story of Vitalik and Ethereum and Charlie Lee and Litecoin, and even Bitcoin and Satoshi. Who's Satoshi? So you need
So
numbers.
This is more authority. Like what we do, not why we do it, right?
You need
the
who,
why.
What, where, when, why. Who are you? You're the leader, right?
Yeah, and it's at the end, like who I am.
Yeah, but it needs to be in the beginning.
I have a good story. I
don't like stock photography. I hate stock photography. Polymath airdrop.
So these are all our clients' achievements.
Yeah, see, this is good. You need to have these numbers, and you need to have you, and informal beats formal. This is
informal beats formal.
Yes.
Well, what I say is, so I was a portfolio manager for 10 years, for a decade.
Yeah,
so
there you go. You got to tell people that.
Well, all I did was I say I'm a.
Hey,
and then
me.
I know because I interviewed you at BTC.
This is better. The faces are better.
These are me Novocrats and.
Yes, you have access to all these top crypto people. You should have you talking with them. Look at
Who's
that.
that guy? Who's that guy?
Who's that? First. Who is that weirdo?
And then it's this Polycon, biggest conference.
It's on the right track, but it's too formal. It needs to be informal. People buy informal. Look at Kim Kardashian's Instagram, where she's informal. Look at Drake, where she's informal, gets way more likes and engagement. A very formal picture versus just a relaxed picture. You need a video of you talking. This should be at the beginning. Raised $100 million.
Our Instagram account is really raw. Like we got a bunch of flack in the beginning from the business community for being too out there, and now everyone loves.
Like if you post naked pictures.
No, not
of
raw
yourself.
like that.
Yeah.
I just mean like. Because I worked on Bay Street for so long, I had to be very buttoned up and like talk a certain way, and I couldn't like swear, and I couldn't be myself. Basically, you put on all these masks and things because when you're dealing with people's money,
right,
they want you to be really serious in a certain way because it's serious business.
That's a theory. I don't completely buy that theory,
right.
But everybody followed that train of you having to be super buttoned up.
I don't like it anymore. I've unleashed.
Warren Buffett, who got almost the biggest fund in history, Berkshire Hathaway, he left New York City. He's got an informal office of 25 people. You can walk to it from his house.
Well, the problem is you're too formal. People don't trust you.
No, Geico. Look at Geico's advertising.
With the gecko?
Yeah, it's funny.
I know.
It's got like a camel. It's got like the Neanderthal man. It's like the formal, like informal just works. It just
well, now
does.
I'm informal. Like, what do you think of Grid and our logo?
That's fine.
Do you think it's positive?
I don't think logos matter that much. So I think your success, this is good enough. It's not going to matter. Your success will be like, do people connect with your story? Remember, at the end of the day, people really only buy one thing. They buy into stories. That's why Steve Jobs and Apple did well. People buy the story of Apple. It's like this hipster company that it's not even what the company is. It's the largest corporation in the world. That's what it really is. But they position their story as like, hipster and artsy and all that. And so Grit Capital, you got to ask yourself, I call it the brand story. What's the brand story here? And the brand story has to stand out. That's what I mean by who, what, where, when, why. Who are we? What are we doing? Who, what, where? Where can you find us? When, and the why. The last one is important because why is like why you should do business with us versus all the other sources of capital. And the why is the most important part. They're all important, but it's the most forgotten part. You go to people's websites, there's no why we're different. And people, just think of this, Tinder, dating. When you're flipping, all you're doing is looking for differences. Imagine if every Tinder profile was a blank, no picture, and just said, I'm a male, I'm, 6 foot tall, I'm this age, I live in this city. That's raw data. You would never go on a date with that person, because why are you different from the person there? So good Tinder profiles differentiate. So most of your website should be why you're different. People get it. You're a capital, so you're a fund, or you're helping people with capital. They get that, and they've heard of that. But it's like, what can you do for me lately? That's what people care about. What can you do? So like if people ask, like, Ty, what's different about you? I can say there's different things I can say, but one of them is I didn't go to college. I grew up in a mobile home. I was raised by a single mom. I lived in didn't inherit a business. I went out and found 5 mentors. These are all unique stories that people don't hear every day. They assume if you're doing well in business that you went to Harvard Business School, or your dad had a business and then you took it over. That's not my story. They see me now like, oh, you've always had a nice house, nice car. They don't realize I grew up in a mobile home, literally. I just found it on Google Maps. It's still there. It's this mobile.
No way. You can see the picture of it? You should buy it. Buy it back.
It's on a farm that somebody else owns.
Turn it into a museum.
Somebody lives in it now.
Really?
Yeah, they added a porch on it. I know. It's literally like 1,200 foot place. I think now my bedroom is over like 1,400 square feet. And I grew up in that. I didn't even know. I didn't even know we weren't dirt poor in the sense. My grandma had enough money to always help my mom out, so I was never starving. God help it. If I didn't have my grandma, thank God for grandmas. If I didn't have my grandma, I would have been poor. My mom probably never made more than $20,000 a year, And so my grandma, I didn't grow up dirt poor because of my grandma. Then my mom got remarried later to my stepdad, who delivered mail for the post office. So he made, I think when she got married, he made 30 grand a year, which we were like, woo, we're moving on. And then I remember when I was a teenager, he got a raise to, I think it was either 60 or 70 grand. And we were like, woo. I read this thing about Oprah. When she got a job for 3 or 4 grand a month, her dad took her out to dinner and said, you've now made more money. We never thought anyone in our family could make 3 or 4 grand a month. And now she's Oprah Winfrey. I think she's the richest woman in the world, or was at one point. So that's the why. If people want to listen to me, it's like, well, if that story resonates with you, because maybe you grew up with a single mom, or maybe then here's other stuff I do. So Grit Capital, Polymath, it needs that personal story. As I said, look at the crypto world. The crypto world revolves around influential individuals. Bitcoin, a mysterious person, Satoshi. Everybody, who is this about Satoshi guy? The second biggest coin, Ethereum. Vitalik is a well known and followed person. Then you get to Litecoin, Charlie Lee, very well known. Bitcoin Cash, once again, an individual behind it. So Grit Capital, things now, and I predict this will not end, are going to be individual human influencer driven. People are going to buy into your story. There's exceptions to this, Amazon, people buy not just because of, of Bezos, but at some point, the Bezos persona helped it. People use Facebook now not because per se of Mark Zuckerberg, but at some point he was a driving force and was well known. Look at MySpace. Tom was your first friend. You joined MySpace, and that's why they grew so well, because it was built around a person, or at least one person was involved at the beginning. Humans don't connect to imagery. The human brain is completely designed at a genetic level, not designed, but programmed to be attracted to individuals or repulsed by individuals.
Right, and the stories, and this is back to kind of like the sitting around the fire pit, and being tribal.
To be like, hey, here's our story.
Yeah, how we got to where we are.
Yeah,
and
but remember, not just the story. Why
And you know what's funny? Like, I opened the conference this morning and I said, last night so many people came up to us and said, we like you girls, we like Grit Capital, but we still don't understand what you do. But ironically, what our company does is tell stories about companies to other people.
Yes,
but we're not good at telling our own story, which is super ironic.
You don't want to do that.
No, so we gotta figure out like what our story is and what people resonate with us. And
Here's how I'll close by telling you this. This is how you figure that out. It's very simple. I call it the waiter-waitress test. Every restaurant you go to, every Starbucks barista, every person sitting next to you on the subway, just start talking. And then you got to look at their pupils. Body language tells you a lot. When people aren't interested, they'll kind of be like, oh, okay, and they'll like look at their phone or like, but if they like turn and are like, huh? And if they ask you questions, that's how you really know. Smart, if they're like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, and so tell different versions of the Grit Capital story, or whoever's listening, your company, tell different versions. Be like, so I could, for example, the reason I have this story that I'm telling you now, because I've tested different parts of my life. Remember, your life has different stories you could tell. You could tell the story of when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up to your current age. So we all have 50 different stories about ourselves. You start talking to every waiter, waitress you meet, and then you pay attention. If they always, when you tell the story number 17, if they always go, wait, what? Then use that as your main story. That's called polling your audience. You have to poll the audience. Most entrepreneurs are doing it in the 1980s business style, where they just tell people, this is what you better like about me. Now, the world's too competitive now. You'll fail quickly that way. So that's where Sam Walton was right. The customer is always right as a group, not as an individual. So if you talk to your customers and 90% of them like story B, don't tell story A.
yeah.
So you got to get out there and talk to strangers.
I'm gonna do
Don't
that.
test it on people you know.
Every Uber driver, every waitress, waiter, anybody I come into contact with. And the thing is like the story I've been telling, I can already tell you this, it's been very kind of high level and made for like a business audience. And I want to tell a simpler story.
Yes.
No jargon, just heartfelt.
I call bullshit now. When I was growing up, like I said, no business background, no money in my family. My mom, I thought business people were super smart. Now I meet the most powerful business people in the world. 1 out of 1,000 of them are smart. So don't ever think high level works on business people. Just as stupid as everybody else. We're all just as stupid. There's a few outliers. There's a few Elon Musks. But even I've had conversations with Elon Musk. He's like look at his life. He remarried the same woman.
Yeah.
Ain't that smart? No offense. It's not that logical. He still
like
goes by the heart. He's still like, oh, I miss my ex. That's a very human thing.
He's still human, yeah.
So when you tell your story, I guarantee what's going to win is the most human story.
It's a human story. You've heard it here.
Every business website is like,
Non-human.
what's the least human version of me? Like, how can I just make it so you don't identify with me? That's my goal. How can you not identify with me? That's what I want to put on my homepage. Then they'll put on a little sub-page about us. And then you scroll down, there's a little picture. Then if you click on that, 18 clicks later, you find this awesome story. Forget that. Good story, right on the front, right here. I'm here.
From the heart. You heard it right here. Ty Lopez, this guy can tell a story right from the heart, straight from the heart. He's a human, a very good human.
I'm a human.
I really like this human. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm blessed that you've given me all this time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And this is long form. You watch. This will do better. Longer form wins.
I'm posting the whole thing unedited.
And I'll
Grit
post this
Capital.
on my social media, and we'll link back to Grit.
Perfect. And I'd love to come out to LA and visit you guys and your homes.
Trevor, come on out.
Absolutely.
We'll try to find where Elon Musk is. He likes movie premieres.
Okay, at the Grove, right? We'll go to the Grove.
Well, that was just a regular movie. I've never seen him back there. That was a one-time.
And you got to come to Barbados too. Trevor's got a huge place there for Polymath headquarters.
How far is that from here?
From here?
It's more south, right?
Unfortunately, you have to go back to Miami, then to Barbados. But yeah, it's about...
Private jet.
Yeah, you could do private
jet ski.
An hour
DJ
and a half.
We can just try to jet ski there.
Oh my God, remember when he got lost on his jet ski?
That's made him famous. Personable story.
He was like, help.
Yeah.
And he had no Wi-Fi, but
But the great part, I'm telling you, that is a human story.
It is.
and he's popular now.
That's like Nick Spanos last night telling the jet ski story. I left my spleen in Bahamas. And the FBI coming, and the SEC's like, people love that.
Put me on the panel. I'll tell a story tonight.
Okay, let's go. I'm going to go find Trevor.
Tell Trevor. It was his idea yesterday.